Hi, Brandy. Hey, Carrie. It's been an eventful evening, eventful day anyway. I want to talk about what's going on at the situation that happened at Hollandwood Middle School that we talked about last week. And I've been trying to get to this, but a bunch of other things have been going on, so kind of got sidetracked. Basically, it involves one of the middle school teachers there. I believe you pronounce his name Dalrymple, maybe. Someone can correct me if you can give the phonetic spelling of it, but I think it's Dalrymple. Jeff Dalrymple, I believe is his name. And yeah, Dalrymple, I believe is it. So if you're not aware of what's happening there, about, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, a month ago, there was an anonymous post. Hey, Jennifer. Hi, Christina. There was an anonymous post submitted to the page, and it was talking about a teacher and that he had, can you guys hear me all right? He had a student sitting on his lap, and I didn't have a lot of information on it, so I reshared the post, but what I did is I cropped it out so you couldn't see the name, and I just left it be. And there was some discussion on it, and in the comment thread, everybody, was like, say his name, put his name out there, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't want to do it at the time because, like I said, I had very limited information, and I didn't want to put it out there, in case it wasn't accurate or, there were some issues with it. So that all happened. Well, then last week or a week and a half ago, whatever it was, I get another message from a different parent asking if the name, if Mr. Dalrymple has come across my radar at all. And I said, actually, he has. Funny that you asked, because there was just an anonymous post made a few weeks ago about him. And this parent was like, yeah, there's an issue. Her child had overheard. The initial complaint or the issue was that her child overheard Mr. Dalrymple having an inappropriate conversation with another student or students. And that conversation centered around oral sex. And hi, Tatiana. And, it was talking about, I don't want to get too graphic here, but I mean, you guys saw the post, but it was basically talking about, oral sex and fellatio and, a girl performing it on a guy and a guy performing it on a girl and blah, blah, blah. So this student went home and told their parent about what happened. So, mom goes into the school, talks to Brett Vandrew, which I find it kind of funny that Brett Vandrew is the one that handles this, considering his wife, Dana Vandrew, spent years fighting to allow a twice convicted violent sexual predator around children. So it's just kind of funny that he was involved in this situation when his own wife does what she has to do and fights her ass off to allow pedophiles around children. Hey, Janet. So mom goes into the school, makes a complaint, says, the school's taking this seriously. They're going to investigate it. They're going to look into it. Mr. Dalrymple has been asked to not return to the classroom until they complete the investigation. So, mom had hopes that, yeah, they're going to handle this correctly and they're going to do something about it. Well, they, and then the day that mom goes and meets with the school, because her daughter came home and told her on a Thursday, I believe it was, she went in Friday morning, met with the school, or maybe it was Wednesday and Thursday, whatever. Well, that's when we got the report that there was somebody with the same last name as Mr. Dalrymple was at a soccer field and called into 911 or called dispatch and was threatening suicide. So kind of weird. And that whole phone call and that whole incident happened prior to anyone even talking about the oral sex conversation, in the school. And I hadn't put anything out there yet, whatever. So mom goes in, talks with the school. School says, yep, we're taking this seriously. We're going to investigate it, blah, blah, blah. Fast forward to just last week. So it would be the following week after she made the complaint. There was a bunch of talk about it. I obviously put it all out there. You had strawberries, bananas, blueberries, some Greek yogurt. I usually use Indian yogurt or Greek yogurt, and then some sweetener and stuff. It's good. So the school does whatever they do. We all talked about it. I made a post about it. I put his name out there. I put all the messages I had received about him out there, blah, blah, blah. School comes back, and this is when Theo Kerhoulas, he is the superintendent of the Port Huron Area School District. He is absolute trash. The man is trash. He should not have his job. So, Theo issues a statement. And let me just see. I want to find the, give me 1 second. I want to find this, this statement. I have it on this phone, but I can't pull it out because, oh, here it is. So, Howland Woods Middle School families, I am writing to inform you that the district is aware of the rumors circulating online regarding a teacher at Howland Woods Middle School. We always take these things seriously because the safety of our students is our #1 priority. We immediately began to investigate last week. Sure, Theo, your students are your #1 priority. Well, what about Carrick Brennan? What about Jeremiah May? I mean, I can go on and on about your predatory teachers you have in there. Michael Cook. So save it, Theo. After a full and thorough investigation, it has been determined unequivocally that the teacher did not say those things. The confusion comes from the teacher addressing a few middle school students having an inappropriate conversation using the specific reported language. Our teachers appropriately deal with this kind of thing every day. Students say things and are then corrected. So here's the words they used. The student overheard them saying the words, talking about sucking dick and eating pussy. Those were the words that were used. Those were the words that the teacher used. Now, no one is claiming that Mr. Dalrymple was telling these kids he wants to perform oral sex on them or he wants them to perform oral sex on him or anything of that nature. No one made that claim. So I don't know what Theo's even talking about. No one said that. The issue is, what appears to have happened is some students were having a talk about oral sex. They were using, the graphic terms that I just used. They were having this conversation. Apparently, Mr. Dalrymple overheard them having this conversation, and he felt it was appropriate to then correct these kids or have a talk to them about it. And this is where I have a real issue with this. A middle school teacher should not be having a talk with any middle schoolers about sex or sexual content in any capacity, in any context. It is highly inappropriate, and it is not the teacher's place to talk about that stuff with a student. If you hear 6th graders or 7th graders or 8th graders having that type of a conversation, you know what you do, Mr. Dalrymple and Mr. Kerhoulas? You send those kids to the principal's office, and you tell the principal what was going on, and then the principal can call the parents, and the parents can have the talk with their kids about them subjects. It is not the school's place to have these conversations. If my daughter came home and said one of her teachers was talking to her about this stuff or overheard her and her friends talking about it and decided to chime in and decided to correct them, you can bet your ass I'd be in that school in a heartbeat confronting that teacher and asking them why they think it's appropriate to have that type of a conversation with my child or with a child that age. This is, the lines that get crossed in this school district are outrageous. Outrageous. You have Charles Lesser, who's the principal at one of the schools, take kids for rides in his sports car as a reward. Highly inappropriate. That's grooming behavior. A student shouldn't be out with their teachers and out with their principals, and they shouldn't be one-on-one with them. And this shit should not be happening. So, so apparently Theo and Brett Vandrew and all of them came and brought Mr. Dalrymple down, and and talked to him, and he cleared this up for them. It wasn't anything he said. He was just correcting these students. Well, guess what, goofball? It's not your place. You should not be talking as a grown man, as a teacher. You should not be talking to 6th graders or 7th graders or 8th graders or any students whatsoever about anything sexual. It is not your job. It is not your place. And you should not be doing it. Because if you don't do it, you can avoid the confusion here and the misunderstanding they're trying to tell us this was. This was no misunderstanding. This is a teacher that crossed a line and should have been disciplined for doing so. It is not for you. I don't know if Vandrew was sticking up for him. I don't like Brett Vandrew, and I don't like his wife. I had to deal with her, and I just, screw these people. They're not good people. So, then it comes into like, oh, Mr. Dalrymple, and they're just picking on him, blah, blah, blah. Well, here's the deal. So he also had an issue, I don't know if it was last year or earlier this year, where he was making inappropriate comments to a young female student, talking about her chest and her breast and different things, and was being completely inappropriate. Well, the parents confronted him about it, and the parents went to the school resource officer, and it's Officer Baker, I believe, from the Port Huron Police Department. He might be somewhere else now, but at some point, he was the school resource officer. He got involved, and everybody confronted Mr. Dalrymple about his inappropriate comments, and they stopped. So there's that issue. Then there's the issue of this sitting on laps and having students sit on his laps, he sits on their laps, because apparently the kids go sit in his chair at his desk. It's like a thing they do with him, is what I'm being told by some students and some parents. And apparently he takes that he can go sit on their lap, or have them sit on his lap. Why is a male teacher having any physical contact whatsoever with female students in middle school? It is inappropriate. It should not be happening. The same day that he had the conversation with the kids and he corrected these kids about the oral sex conversations, apparently he had another female student that got her in a headlock and was kind of like wrestling with her. Inappropriate. I'm sorry, bro. You're a grown-ass man. You're a teacher. Stop touching these kids in any capacity. You should not be making physical contact with any of your students for nothing. Maybe if you want to hug them, and I don't even think you should be doing that. It's just, you can avoid a lot of problems. But this is not normal. This is not okay at all. This wasn't going on when I was in high school. When I was in high school back in, 1996, 1997, 1998, 20-some years ago, or whatever, 30 years ago maybe, 25, whatever. This wasn't happening. Teachers weren't having these conversations with us. We weren't on Snapchat with teachers. Teachers weren't calling us. We weren't driving around in teachers' cars. If we went to a teacher's house, we were at like our coaches' houses, and there was a bunch of us there watching film or doing whatever. Or maybe some teachers had some female students babysitting for them, but they would come with friends, and their wives would be there, and it was more on the level. What was going on in the Port Huron Area School District is nuts. And the things that they're trying to make be okay is nuts. Nuts at all. So the statement goes on. It says, investigations take time, and over the long weekend, adults spread rumors, mistruths, and judgments about the issue online. While we understand that teenagers can make mistakes, it is disheartening to see adults spreading hurtful threats based on hearsay or social media gossip. Our teachers and staff work tirelessly for our students every day, and I want to personally acknowledge their hard work and commitment to educating our children. Shut up, Theo. Shut up. No one was spreading rumors. No one was spreading gossips. No one was spreading misinformation. Your creepy-ass teacher was talking to his students about things he should not have been talking to them about. It is not his place to correct them. How do you correct these kids? Like, what was the correction? Hey, you guys, don't talk about that. Or, hey, you guys, if you do it, this is how you do it. What was the correction? I don't get it. If it was an inappropriate conversation, you should have sent the kids down to the principal's office and let the principal deal with it. Because that's the principal's job. Get a guidance counselor, and then call the parents, and then all the kids and the parents and the principal can all sit down and have a talk about why it's inappropriate to have these kinds of conversations. It is not for some chubby-ass overweight teacher to chime in with it and to correct these kids, especially a teacher that's having students sit on his lap, that's sitting on their laps, that's wrestling with them, that's making inappropriate comments about their breasts, doing all this stuff. So I'll tell you what, if you know Officer Baker from the Port Huron Police Department, call him and ask him about the situation with Mr. Dalrymple that he knows about from before. He'll tell you. And then maybe it won't be rumors. And then it can't be crazy Kevin Linke saying this stuff. Go talk to the police officer that had to get involved because this teacher can't shut his mouth. And he is just completely inappropriate with his students and acts in a way that he shouldn't. You know, this isn't an isolated incident. Like I said, we had Jeremiah May, who I posted about, who was putting, this student, it was a football player, a female football player. He's like, oh, you're my sun and my sky, and we have such a connection. We don't even have to use words when we're around each other. We just are so connected. It's freaking weird, bro. You got Michael Cook, who was out sending messages, late night drunken messages to former students and current students that are in, higher grades than him. Inappropriate as hell. You got Carrick Brennan, who was out there asking a student to come to his house and gets her in his car and tries to rape her. This isn't normal. This is not normal. Not for one school district to have this many problems. It's not normal at all. So Theo, you can sit out there and be like, it's so disheartening to see this stuff online. No, you know what's really disheartening, Theo, is that your school is full of a bunch of predatory male teachers that can't seem to keep their hands off their female students. That's what's disheartening, Theo. And those aren't rumors. That's not gossip, not innuendo. It's the truth. It's all documented. I can show it to you. Right in black and white. In pictures. And pictures speak 1,000 words, Theo. So you can issue all these little statements and press releases you want, but you ain't fooling anybody, bro. You're trash. You need to go. Charles Lesser needs to go. Jeff Dalrymple needs to go. All these little creeps you have teaching our kids and around our kids and in your school just all need to go. Get the hell out. You don't belong there. You pose a credible threat to children. Understand that. Yeah, Sarah, and I know there was an issue with Theo at his last place he came from too. Same with Charles Lesser. He left under some questionable circumstances from the last district he was at. So no, Theo. Your teachers should not be correcting students talking about oral sex. Not at all. There's no confusion here. None of us are confused. We all see it for exactly what it is. So, and then he goes on, as adults, we must remember that sensational claims online are often speculation or misinformation. Sure they are. So these kids are liars, huh? All these kids are liars. All these parents are liars. Officer Baker's a liar. Okay, Theo. Because, see, this is what they do. It's like the whole thing going on with the East China School District and their superintendent. None of us, it's like you guys didn't see what you see. They just try to gaslight us. Here, this woman was slurring her words, mispronouncing names, all kinds of stuff going, woo! But yeah, we didn't see that. It was an audio issue. It was a technical difficulties. Sure thing. Keep trying to gaslight us. As adults, we must remember that sensational claims are often in the rare instances where there are legitimate concerns. Rest assured, they will be thoroughly investigated and addressed appropriately by the district. Sometimes this process requires time or new things are alleged. We are thorough and will work through additional issues as they arise. In my opinion, we as adults should press pause instead of send and not rush to judgment, allowing the systems to work. Fuck your system, Theo, and fuck you. Your system doesn't work. Your system is full of a bunch of predators, bro, and a bunch of creeps and all kinds of other unsavory people. Now, there are some good teachers in the Port Huron area school district and some good faculty members. Not saying there isn't, but there's a lot of shitheads. And it seems that they're all male and they're all very close with Theo Kerhoulas. So, it's like, Theo, you put this stuff out there and you can try to spin this all you want. But you can't spin me, bro. You can't. I believe these kids. I believe these parents. Because they're telling the truth. Okay, this is why kids don't want to come forward. And this is why victims don't want to come forward. Because the people that are supposed to be protecting them are calling them liars and are doubting them. And I get that kids will make stuff up. I mean, I'm not naive and I'm not an idiot. I understand some kids will make some stuff up. But when you have all these different kids saying all these different things, they're not lying. They're not making this up. Like, the shit's true. Dawn, I absolutely agree. There should be teachers in that district that see this stuff and know about this stuff. Because everybody knew about Jeremiah May. Everybody knew about Carrick Brennan. Everyone knew about Michael Cook. No one said nothing until I did. And until Carrick's, the girl that survived him, she was strong enough to say something, and her family was strong enough to take them to task and to push all the way through and to get that little asshole convicted and get him on the sex offender registry. You know, that took a lot of strength for that family. I sat in the courtroom with that family. I went off on Judge Lane because of how disrespectful she was to that family. And I was going to go to jail because I was watching this poor family having to sit here and listen to this woman, and just like dad wanted to, he was going to rip the frickin' the pew out of the ground. I mean, these people had to sit there. The victim is crying, and Judge Lane is up there laughing and joking with Carrick Brennan and his lawyer. It was the most disrespectful thing I'd seen in a long time. And I made sure to say something to Lane about it, and she tossed me out of her courtroom. I thought for sure I was going to jail, but she made me leave the courtroom. But that's what these people do. They are so disrespectful, so disrespectful. You have a young girl who is the victim of this dude, and you're up there laughing and joking with him and his attorney? Okay. You know, Jennifer, for sure. But the thing is, they can't get rid of all the good teachers. If all the good teachers stand up and send me the information and give me everything I need, they can't fire everybody. That's the thing. Once you come together, you hold all the power. Nathan, they're not. You know what it is? These male teachers that we're seeing this happen, these guys were dorks in high school and growing up, and they never got women, and they never got girls' attention, and they never had any of that. And now they have put themselves in a position of authority and a position of power, and they're these teachers, and they want to be the cool, hip, awesome teacher that relates to their students. And then these girls start, you know, having little crushes on them or doing whatever, and these teachers, instead of keeping some distance and staying professional, they buy into it and they feed into it, and they start like doing whatever they do with these kids and thinking whatever they think about these kids. But it's weird as shit. It's weird as shit. You know, you look at the wives of these guys are like, they're not nothing special. So then they have these little young high school girls like, oh, hey, Mr. Dalrymple. Hey, Mr. May. Hey, Mr. Cook. And these guys buy into it. Like, oh, look, she's flirting with me. Like, I'm Mr. Cool Guy now. Fucking weirdo. You're a fucking weirdo, bro. All of you. And it's even more weird that you have people like Theo Kerhoulas and Brett Vandrew coming out, and Charles Lesser trying to tell you that you're not a weirdo. You're all creeps. All of you. The fact that Charles Lesser, as a reward for kids for good behavior or attendance or whatever it is taking these kids out in his cool sports car and drives them around. What the hell is that? What is that? Because to me, that seems like grooming behavior. Oh, look at here, I'm the cool school principal, and I got a real sharp sports car. You want to go for a ride, little kid? You've been such a good kid. Here, hop in with me, and I'll drive you around. It's freaking weird, bro. It's the weirdest shit. If one of my teachers or one of my principals when I was in high school asked me to do that, I'd be like, you are a freaking weirdo, man. Get away from me. Like, it don't even make no sense. And yet they keep allowing it to happen. And they even got some parents that are just like, oh, yeah, it's fine. It's a reward. Don't worry about it. Well, I'm going to worry about it. Because not worrying about it leads to the situations we have going on right now. Oh, yeah, Holly, parents know. It's like a thing there, I guess. Everyone gets to go driving. It's like he's got a Camaro or a Trans Am or something. I don't know. It might even be a convertible, and that's his thing is, you know, he takes him for rides in his car as a reward. It's so weird. It's just, I don't get it. You know, I don't get it at all. They're exposing our kids. You know, they let the Port Huron band go play. You know, they do that thing where it's like you can donate and they'll show up wherever you're at and they'll play a song. So they had him going out to the Milk House. Well, the Milk House is dangerous as shit. And then the guy downtown, Daniels, I can't think of his first name, but he's got Daniels, the tax place. He's a freaking pedophile. He's on the registry. He has the kids come play for him. Like, come on, you guys. You keep serving our kids up on a freaking platter to these pedos and to these creeps and to these predators. I don't get it. And then some parents want to get mad and be like, oh, you know, you're just talking shit and you're just saying stuff. No, I'm sorry. Maybe I am talking shit, but the shit's true. And it's dangerous. And you're putting our kids at risk. And kids are being harmed. You know, you got Stephen Rogers in Marysville, another one. I mean, it's never ending. And when you have, I mean, there should be a policy in place. Teachers shouldn't be one-on-one with students. Not anymore. You can avoid confusion by not allowing kids to be one-on-one with their teachers, especially opposite sex. Male teachers should not be one-on-one with a female student, ever. Sorry. It shouldn't be happening. You know, a female teacher shouldn't be one-on-one with a male student. Sorry. It shouldn't be happening. You can avoid a lot of nonsense and a lot of just issues if you just don't let it happen. Teachers, you know, we just had the issue in Elginak with the vice principal there who sent out the freaking picture of herself on Snapchat that kids saw, students saw. Hey, you want to know how you avoid that? Teachers don't have students on their social medias. Principals don't have students on their social medias, on their pages. Simple solution to a very concerning problem here. You know, so it's like, you know, now we have, exactly, Bria, they just shouldn't happen. I'm sorry. It shouldn't be happening. You know, when I was a kid, it was, you know, you didn't hear a lot. They had just started about, you know, like the female teachers. You didn't hear about really any male teachers sleeping with female teachers. It was always female teachers sleeping with male students, not male teachers sleeping with female students. And that stuff was just starting when I was in high school, and it's gotten way worse since then. I mean, we see it all over the place of these teachers getting in trouble for inappropriate relationships with students. We had a guy that I went to high school with. He was Mr. Football, Mr. Popular. His name was Norb Ryan, and he was teaching. He might have been at Country Day for a while or some Bloomfield Hills school or something, and there was rumors he had going on there about an inappropriate relationship with a student. The school basically had him retire or resign from there. Well, he moved down to South Carolina and started a relationship with a 13-year-old girl. And he talked about how he was in love with her and she's in love with him. They're going to be together. His ass went to prison for like 7 years. You know, and this was, you know, a guy that we all went to school with. Some of you on here may remember Norbert Ryan. Totally, he was Mr. Football star, Mr. Athlete. And he decided to become a teacher, and then he started trying to date 13-year-old students and 12-year-old students. It's weird as shit. They created a whole thing about him before he left the one school, like this whole like website about him before he went down to South Carolina. And then see, when he went to South Carolina, he didn't have to tell him what happened in Michigan. And he didn't tell him why he got fired or had to resign. And then he went down there and victimized a child down there. Let me see. Norbert Ryan, Michigan. Yeah, right there. Horry County pays $175,000 because Norb Ryan decided to try to date a 13-year-old student of his. Yeah, there's Norb. Good old Norbert. Hey, Norbert. Mr. Mariner there. Horry County Schools agreed to pay more than $100,000 to a former St. James Middle School student whose teacher was convicted of criminal sexual conduct after engaging in a relationship with the then 13-year-old girl. The settlement brings a close to the nearly 2-year-old lawsuit which the local family filed after learning the teacher, Norbert Ryan, had a sexual relationship with another student in Michigan prior to being hired by Horry County Schools. Chandler told the Herald in 2011 that information about Ryan's past could have been easily obtained by Horry County Schools, but they didn't do what they were supposed to do. Police said Ryan was a 32-year-old social studies teacher at St. James Middle School when he had sex with the girl during the 2009-2010 school year. The relationship led to Ryan's arrest, and he was sentenced to 7 years in prison. And there's a quote. Let me find it. I mean, we have another teacher in around right now. What's his name? The real estate guy. One of you guys will know. He's the real estate dude in Port Huron. Him and Larry Jones are real tight. And Hastings. Is it Hastings? I think it's Hastings. Is it Ryan Hastings? Maybe I'm wrong. Hang on. One of you guys, somebody will know who he is. He's got that smug picture in the courtroom when he was getting sentenced. Give me a second, I'll find it. I could have swore it was Ryan Hastings. One of you guys has to know who I'm talking about. Maybe it's not Hastings. But But yeah, I mean, these schools need to be putting stuff in place. Just put policies in place. Sever the contact. Put something there that this can't be happening. And then when the teachers violate it, guess what? You're fired. Because it's going to take it to happen to about one teacher, and then all the rest will stop doing it. Or maybe it was in Hastings, Michigan, was the... hang on. Teacher and... Anyone give his name yet? Man, I hate when I can't find stuff. Let's see. Coach in Michigan. Let's see what Google does. Yeah, exactly, Evelyn. It's super easy. I mean, you got the whole thing with Bob Kessler over at Landmark, the bus driver, texting students. Why does Bob Kessler have any student's cell phone number? There was another teacher there. I can't think of his name now that he was being inappropriate with at Landmark. Inappropriate text. No, I don't care about Mel Tucker. Somebody's got to know his name. You know, but this stuff shouldn't be happening. John Hastings, is that what it is? Yeah, that sounds right. I knew it was Hastings. Hang on. Yeah, here we go. Look at this smug bastard. That's at his sentencing right there. That's him. Thanks, Joe. Yeah, so John Hastings is in Port Huron now. He's a landlord there. He owns a bunch of properties. He's a creep. He goes into people's into their apartments when he's not supposed to, all kinds of stuff. So John Hastings, former Jackson High School teacher and baseball coach, appears for sentencing in front of Jackson County Circuit Court Judge Thomas Wilson on December 8, 2016. Hastings was sentenced to 3 years probation and 5 weekends in jail for sending inappropriate texts to a student. And then John Hastings ends up here. There's Mr. Hastings right there. And now he's all over. Him and Larry Jones are buddy, and they're doing stuff together. Look at this guy. Like, he looks so bothered to be there. Like, it's like they're taking time out of his day to prosecute him for being a total freaking creep. And now you end up in Port Huron and in St. Clair County, and you have a bunch of rentals. Dude's a creep. Yeah, look at him right there. Like that one. He's just so smug. Just the arrogance. You know, this stuff would stop happening. Like we talked about, put a policy in place. You're not talking to your students. You should not have each other's cell phone numbers. You want to talk to a student? Call their mom and dad, get permission from their parents, and talk to them in front of their parents. Do it like that. You know, kids shouldn't be driving around in your car. You know, male coaches shouldn't be out there doing one-on-one with female athletes the way Jeremiah May was and just posting this stuff. The messages that he was posting. I mean, and it's on the page. They all end up here, Amy. They flock here. Brandy, I don't know, because Theo won't get rid of these predators. Theo keeps hiring these predators. Theo might be a little suspect himself, you know? It's really weird. Because I'll tell you what, if I was a principal or I was the superintendent, the first whiff of this stuff, you'd be gone. We're just going to err on the side of caution. See ya. If I got to deal with the teachers union and stuff, hey, so be it. It's a lot better than letting our kids be victimized and letting the students be victimized. You know, I don't get it. I don't know why these teachers are trying to be friends with the students. Like, get a life. Get your own life. Hang out with some people your own age. It's weird. Like Carrick Brennan. Carrick Brennan was Mr. Cool Guy, was talking with all the football players and all the athletes and always being cool and having all these really weird sexual talks with them and talking about students and talking to them about their sex lives. What the hell? It's not normal. It's not okay. It shouldn't be happening. And yet Theo Kerhoulas keeps letting it happen. Because, I mean, like I said, I can go down the list about Port Huron Area School District situations like this. Yeah, Theo's an idiot. I'm sorry. He just is. And he shouldn't be the superintendent of schools. I mean, I think back in the 80s, in the late 70s, early 80s, the superintendent of Port Huron, he was a creep too. I think Sergeant LeBeau, I think it's Michael LeBeau at the jail, who I can't stand, his dad was a pedo and was a teacher or a principal or something in the Port Huron Area School District. And I'm pretty sure he offed himself. But yeah, he was a pedo. You know, they're everywhere. You know, it's just, this stuff's wild. It shouldn't be happening. We have a bunch of problems in our schools, and it all starts at the top. You know, you got the vice principal in Elginak. You got the superintendent in East China. You have the superintendent of Port Huron Area School District. You got the principal there, Lesser. You got all these male teachers and all these issues. Something needs to change. And I would start right at the top. I would start with Theo Kerhoulas. Bye-bye, you're fired. Charles Lesser, you're fired. Dalrymple, whatever your name is, you're gone too. You know, Jeremiah May, I think the official thing, he got in trouble because he went to a luncheon and he got drunk there, went back to school. I mean, there's all kinds of problems, man. And if Theo Kerhoulas wants to just keep issuing statements and this and that, and oh, these are rumors, and it's so disheartening that the adults are out there doing this and all that, save it, bro. I don't care. I don't care at all. Like, if you're going to do it too, at least have the balls. Start dropping my name in your press releases. Be like, Kevin Linke's out there spreading rumors again. Do that. Have some balls, bro. You know, because I'm telling you, Theo, you're not going to want to deal with me. I promise you. At some point, I'm going to really just focus all my energy on you. And you're not going to like it. You know, I'm going to make it very, very uncomfortable for you. And very, very intense for you. Okay? It's like Michael Cook. He did what he did. The students started sending me this stuff, and we made a bunch of noise, and Michael had to go retire. Or resign. You know, and him and Lesser were homeboys, so they were real cool with each other. So it's weird, because I don't have any friends that are creeps. The guys that I grew up with and stuff like that turned out to be creepy or act creepy, like I just don't hang out with them. Like I cut off all contact with guys like that. I don't want to be around it. I'm not going to be around it. And I'm going to call you out on it. You know? He didn't have any in CL. What is CL, Sarah? I mean, it's like Landmark. I mean, look what's going on at Landmark with Kessler and stuff. It's crazy. Why the hell does a school bus driver have student cell phones? First time they hear about that, you're gone. Sorry. Yeah, exactly. Serious, for sure. Croslax. All right, thank you, Sarah. You know, this is just, it doesn't make sense, but it makes perfect sense. You know, these guys they're allowing these men to prey on these female students. And they're allowing a bunch of inappropriate conversations to be taking place and a lot of topics being talked about. And, you know, you're not there. Your teachers aren't there to be your friends. You know, you can be cool with your teacher, because I was cool with a lot of my teachers. I get it. But they're crossing all kinds of lines these days. Like, all kinds. This isn't just like, you know, being the cool teacher and all the students really like you and stuff of that nature, and you have a really good rapport with them. Because, I mean, we have one. I talked about him the other day about Monty. You know, Monty was cool as shit. You know, but he wasn't doing the weird shit that these other guys are doing. They're taking it much too far. These school administrators are being much too lax on what is going on. You know? Yeah, I don't think cameras in classrooms are the answer. I don't, something about that, I don't like that. It seems a bit invasive and whatever. But, you know, maybe if that's what solves the problem, that's what solves the problem. Because I'll tell you what, you know, the school administration won't do it. Theo would rather try to spin things and try to deflect and try to gaslight everyone than admit that he's got another predator in his school. And I'll tell you what, you can be mad at me all you want. You can be upset with me all you want. That's fine. But I'm going to keep the spotlight on people like Dalrymple and stuff, because I'll tell you what, they're either going to clean up their act and they're going to clean up their behavior, or at some point they're not going to be able to spin this, and they're not going to be able to, deflect away from what they did. So this is why I talk about these people. There's another teacher there I've gotten some messages about, and he's an older teacher, a male teacher. I think he's only subbing now, and I've gotten some messages about him. I haven't put it out there yet. He seems, from what I saw, he may be a very kind of beloved teacher, and he's been around a long time, and his family name is pretty well known. If some of you can figure out who I'm talking about, maybe but he's kind of like a little short, older guy, but apparently he can't keep his hands to himself either. There may even be a police report out there about it. And, slapping girls on the butt and different things of that nature. And sooner or later, I'm going to put his name out there. I just haven't yet. I need to confirm a few things and button it up a little bit more before I put this out there. I don't want Theo throwing out another freaking press release telling me that I'm just gossiping and making stuff up and how disappointed he is in the adults. Well, we're disappointed with you, Theo. Try that. Brett Vandrew, we're disappointed with you. Charles Lesser, we're disappointed with you. Screw you guys. You're all too afraid to take action. You guys are all very poor leaders. You're very weak leaders, and you're very weak men. See, that's the problem. We have a bunch of weak men in positions of power. That's not a good look. It's not good at all. And I'll tell you what, about one more kid, one more female student or one more male student gets harmed, sooner or later, these parents or one of these dads, they're going to come looking for, the perpetrator and the people that covered for the perpetrator. What are you going to do then, Theo? What are you going to do if a parent like me and a guy like me comes looking for you? What are you going to do? Call the cops? They're not going to be able to prevent anything. They're just going to have to deal with, what happened. They'll deal with the aftermath, but they're not going to be able to prevent it. Could solve a lot of things. Just go check these teachers and check these principals and check these superintendents. I'll get you in a room alone. I'll make you see the error of your ways, and I'll make you realize the mistakes you're making. I promise you. Because, asking nicely doesn't work. Being respectful doesn't work. Being civil, no, don't work. They take that all as a sign of weakness. So, we'll come show you, how weak we really are and how weak some of these parents are. Because we unleash some of these dads on you guys, it's game over. You keep letting these teachers say stuff to their students, to their daughters, and touch their daughters and be inappropriate with their daughters. One of these dads is going to snap one of these days. I'm telling you right now. And it's not going to be good when they do. Theo, I look at you. You're a weak, weak man. You couldn't defend yourself if your life depended on it. Charles Lesser, you're a weak, weak man. Brett Vandrew, you're a weak, weak man. And at some point, parents are going to take it into their own hands to deal with this stuff. You're not going to, you're not going to keep allowing these students and these children to be victimized and nothing happens. Yeah, exactly, Janet. That's the problem. It's 100% the problem. Theo Kerhoulas thinks it's okay for a male teacher to be talking with 6th graders or 7th graders, talking about oral sex with them. He thinks that's okay to correct them. How did he correct them? What was the correction? That's what I don't get. That's what I don't get at all. What was he like? Hey, you got to lick it before you stick it. Just like the song says. Like, give me a break. The paper ain't going to report on this stuff, Dan. That's why I exist. Because the Times-Herald ain't going to do it. The people in position to the administrators, they're not going to do it. That's why I'm here. And that's why I do what I do. Because I will say it. And I will post about it. And I will highlight it. And you can't bully me. You can't intimidate me. You can't do any of the stuff you do to all these other people. Shit doesn't work with me. We're way past that. the parents are there. They go and so like this whole thing with Dalrymple and this investigation. I don't think they even talked to any of the students. I know they didn't talk to the first girl. They did once, and parent and mom said, nope, you're not talking to her again without me. They never came back and talked to her again. And all these other students, they're not going to go talk to the students, because then they can't lie. If they can't lie about what the students said. If they never talk to the students, they can just say whatever they want, the administrators. But if you go actually talk to these students and sit them down, and then the students tell you what they tell you, especially in front of their parents, you're not going to be able to go out and lie about it at that point. You know, it's just, there was another situation, and I'm waiting for the mom. We talked once, and then I haven't talked to her again, but something happened with her daughter and coach. I mean, it's just, it's never ending. But see, I believe victims. Like, I believe victims. You know, especially if they can back it up. And especially when I'm hearing the same things from different people that don't even know each other. Yeah, Sherry, they definitely did. They did. And thankfully, they were able to push Jeremiah out of the school district. And then he goes and tries to run for the school board. His wife, and then we all know his wife works at Renewal Christian Counseling Center. They're members of the Milk House. So we all know. Yeah, Dawn probably. I don't have a straw, but yeah, I probably do. I didn't even think about it, really. I'm just enjoying my Ninja blender so much. This thing's so sweet. Like, this thing's cool as shit. Like, it's just a cordless, rechargeable, portable, personal blender. I love it. Like those little 30 seconds of mixing and stuff. I love it. It's fucking great. Pop the lid. Fruity goodness. Like I said, live dirty, eat clean. Read it. Yeah, it was like $50. Not crazy expensive, but you can get a full-size blender for, you know, that price too. So, but I do like the little thing. It's a little frustrating though; it doesn't hold its charge very long. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about this Dalrymple. I've been meaning to get to this, and I'll make a whole post about it tomorrow. I'm going to put the letter out there from Theo. I'll put screenshots of some of the messages that I received. You know, Cody Williams at Head Start. You know, he was the teacher of the year, the educator of the year prior to that. And then all of a sudden he was out, he's beating little kids up, literally beating up 5-year-olds and 4-year-olds, 3-year-olds. You know, I had some of Dalrymple's former students going, oh, when I had him, he was fine, blah, blah, blah. Cool, he was fine with you. Well, guess what? He's not fine anymore. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to have the police report. We're going to find out if it was him at that soccer field. It just seems very coincidental that on the morning that they were having a meeting about him, that somebody with his last name calls from the soccer field that he coaches at and says they were going to harm themselves. You know, it's just, I'm going to get that 911 call, and I'm going to get that police report. I'm working on it right now. You know, and if it was him, then that's another reason he shouldn't be in the classroom. If you're suicidal and you're having mental health issues like that, you are unfit for the classroom. You shouldn't be put back in the classroom. But this is what they do. Because, see, they got to make it seem like he's okay and that he didn't do anything wrong. But we all know he did. These students aren't lying. That's the one thing I know. These students are not lying. They have no reason to lie. These are good kids. No reason to lie at all. Doesn't make any sense. You know, it's just, but you know, Theo, he'll keep spinning everything and doing whatever. But yeah, I will make a post about Dalrymple tomorrow. I'm going to put the letter from Theo Kerhoulas out there. I'm going to put some of the text messages, and I'm going to explain things a little bit more. I just wanted to get on here and talk about it a little bit because I've been meaning to do it, but a bunch of other stuff keeps happening. It's never ending. You know, we have the whole thing with Suzanne Saibula in East China. I love that Dave and Chuck the Freak talked about it today on their show, and I put up the clip. And, you know, in Suzanne's favor, they were trying to defend her, and they were siding with her, like, oh, yeah, we get it, you know, this audio feedback, and blah, blah. Yeah, no, there was no audio, there was no feedback, you know, there was no reverberation, there was no technical difficulties. she either popped a Xanny or some kind of tranquilizer, or she had one too many glasses of wine, or she did something, because I'm telling you, that woman was under the influence of something. She just was, and we all know it. You know, there's a bunch of people that were there that watched it. I mean, shit, some of the students have come out and talked about it, like, yeah, we were just laughing. Like, we all knew there was definitely something going on. You know, they thought it was funny. You know, it's just, yeah, no shit, Dan. You know, but, I mean, these are the people we have running our schools, you guys. And these are the people we have, you know, teaching our children. And they have a lot of access to our children, and they're spending a lot of time with our children. And these aren't the people that should be doing it. And like I said, it's like the whole thing with the police. The good teachers need to start speaking up. Hi, Wendy. You know, this is how you do it. And if you don't want to be the one to speak up, just send me the information. Here's the thing. Just send me the information. I know what to do with it. And I can do it where they'll never know who it came from. You know, I'm very good at that. Very, very good at that. It's, you know, one of my specialties is I have a way to get information out to the public without having to reveal how I got the information or who it came from. They've never been able to pinpoint anyone yet, you know, and I got a ton of people out there now that feed me stuff. So, yeah, I will post this tomorrow. I'm going to go finish my smoothie, and I'm going to eat some chicken and some rice and all that. Like I said, I'm on a little health kick right now and whatever, trying to get better. So, I'll talk to you guys soon though. See ya.